HarperCollins presents The Letters of J.R.R. Tolkien, edited by Humphrey Carpenter and Christopher Tolkien, with a foreword by Chris Smith, read by Samuel West, Mike Grady, and Chris Smith.
Forward to the Revised and Expanded Edition. When Humphrey Carpenter penned his introduction to the Letters of J.R.R. Tolkien, which follows, he did so with only passing reference to the fact it was not the book originally envisioned by him. Together with Christopher Tolkien, Humphrey had been working on a typescript for almost 2 years, but it was only after he submitted it to publisher Rayner Unwin that the question arose of what a publishable length for the book might be. Rayner's view then was that, if they wished to appeal to as wide a readership as possible, the book would need to be affordable. Despite Humphrey's prodigious effort to distill many hundreds of letters into an accessible digest, the final word count of the selection still numbered more than 250,000 words. The practical limitations of typesetting dictated that this could only be published as a single, heavy, expensive volume, or as an even pricier 2-volume set. Therefore, and with no small measure of regret, Humphrey and Christopher devoted the first few months of 1980 to abridging the typescript. Their correspondence of that time reflects the challenges they faced, and the lengthy discussions they had in arriving at a final cut that retained the essence of Humphrey's original selection. Disagreements were surprisingly few, although the decision over the inclusion or not of a single comma in one sentence was cordially debated across several letters. Eventually, they succeeded in reducing the volume by approximately 50,000 words. With Christopher's assistance and advice, Humphrey then wrote his accompanying notes, and this was the text that was published. Since then, Letters has become the closest thing we can ever have to J.R.R. Tolkien's autobiography. So when Christopher revealed to his publishers that he still retained a set of the original paperwork, plans were made to restore the excisions in a revised and expanded edition. Drawing upon the editor's typescript, correspondence, and notes, which were made accessible with the help of Bailey Tolkien, Christopher Tolkien's executor, a complete text has now been assembled, which finally offers readers and listeners the selection originally conceived by Humphrey Carpenter and Christopher Tolkien. With the assistance of the Tolkien estate, the estate of Christopher Tolkien, and Catherine McElwain, Tolkien archivist at the Bodleian Libraries, accompanying editorial notes have been added. Leading Tolkien scholars Wayne G. Hammond and Christina Skoll have compiled a revised and updated version of their index. With more than 150 letters included for the first time, and a further 45 letters newly expanded, this edition offers even greater insight into the life of one of the great minds of modern literature. Chris Smith, 2023.
Introduction. Towards the end of his life, J.R.R. Tolkien was deprived for a few weeks of the use of his right arm. He told his publisher, "I found not being able to use a pen or pencil as defeating as the loss of her beak would be to a hen." An immense amount of Tolkien's time was taken up with the written word, not just his academic work and the stories of Middle-earth, but also letters. Many of these had to be written in the way of business, but in any case letter writing was, on most occasions, a favourite activity with him. The consequence is that an immense number of letters by Tolkien survive, and when, with the help of Christopher Tolkien, I began work on this selection, it became obvious that an enormous quantity of material would have to be omitted, and that only passages of particular interest could be included. Naturally, priority has been given to those letters where Tolkien discusses his own books, but the selection has also been made with an eye to demonstrating the huge range of Tolkien's mind and interests, and his idiosyncratic but always clear view of the world. Among the omissions is the very large body of letters he wrote between 1913 and 1918 to Edith Bratt, who was his fiancée and then his wife. These are highly personal in character, and from them I have chosen only a few passages.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?